Welcome again to the next episode of Decoding Love.
Hey.
Hey, I have Dina here with me, and today is again a special series because on the weekend we were talking to some friends about knowledge management. And also Dina had questions of how to efficiently store information, to retrieve it, to easily find it again. So let's dive right in.
Mhm.
One of the tools that can help with managing knowledge is a software that is called Obsidian. So what is so particularly interesting about this software is that it allows to connect the sort of missing pieces between nodes. And unlike Notion or a lot of other productivity software, it does not force you or lock you into a specific vendor. So this is just plain text files with a little bit of structure that you can have air-gapped on the specific systems that where you want to have it. The interesting thing is that Obsidian works heavily with this graph and allows you to connect the nodes. And yeah, we will experience together in a minute how this works. And the best part about it is I have set up the template so you can follow along easily with us and store your knowledge in the future in a similar way. So what we see here on the screen is the software that is named Obsidian. You have here on the left side the possibility to make it small and view the files in a couple of different ways. In particular, you have a nice mode of searching. And you can later explore the graph, but we will come to this in a minute. So first of all, how can you create a new node? Well, usually if you want to create nodes in a structured way, you might want to store meeting nodes somewhere somehow. And you might have daily nodes. Here you see the daily nodes section. It has a couple of template questions. You can obviously customize the template as you see fit. And this will be auto-generated. Interestingly, nodes that were created or touched today are also directly part of this overview. So let's add, well, a meeting node, right? So there is a possibility to go to quick add and simply add a new meeting. Meeting would be decoding love special to knowledge management. As you can see, this is fully automatically generated again from a second template and has a little bit of structured data. For example, the time when we meet. We can add a bit more metadata here as needed. And well, we have attendees. I am here with Dina. So let's add Dina. And also let's add myself here. As you can see, we are not yet found in this list. But what we can do is we can create a new entity in this knowledge graph. And actually we can add a
What shortcut did you just use?
I customized it to be Command and Ü on my German keyboard,
Okay.
but you could choose any keyboard shortcut, so it doesn't matter so much. What is perhaps more interesting, if you do Command P, you get this window where you can navigate through various options that you have here. And what you want to do is you want to go to the quick add option. And here we want to add a new person. And because Dina was selected, the new person Dina is already created. We could add here all the details that I want to store about that person. And most interestingly, a couple of connections are automatically created. So for example, Dina is recorded here that she participated in the meeting that we just created. So by simply connecting the knowledge in the right places, we can work smarter. And how does this work? Well, basically you can have a little bit of, let's say, query language that can, if you follow the structure that I have prepared here, automatically figure out how to connect the dots. But you can customize it as you see fit. Let me also add a new second person, Georg. Again, we go to this quick add screen, make a new person, and here we go. For the sake of example, I will again skip adding additional details, but you could imagine a traditional CRM system where you can store as many attributes as you want. You can add more, and you can also change the template if you have specific attributes that you want to store here. And again, see the link down below. So far, so good. So we can have an agenda here and say introduction to Obsidian, and yeah, make certain notes but usually a meeting ends not just with a discussion and no output, but hopefully certain follow-up tasks or a decision. So if you want to track the tasks, well, let's create a task. Do something. And we can actually check the task off. But what gets even more interesting, we can mark it as a task that belongs to a specific project. Actually, I have created a project named it testing. And if I mention that testing task in the name of task, this is tracked. So if we open if you open the right project, actually let me navigate here because I forgot how I actually named the file. So you will see how to find it. It's called test project, and this is the tag that was used for it. And as you can see, first of all, we're tracking the meeting notes. So for example, the decoding laugh session is now also part of this project overview without doing any additional work. And I was talking about tasks. As you can see, we have high priority tasks and normal tasks tracked separately here. You do not need to look into the individual nodes. You can directly see the tasks at a glance here. This can be in particular interesting if you're directing multiple projects in a large enterprise setting, and we need to have a bit of an overview across the various issue trackers that are often employed.
Can you also add other variables, as for example, who is assigned for the task?
So you can pretty much customize the structure that you want to have. So if we would go back to this task here and say this task do something is something that Dina should do.
Okay, I'm going to do something.
You will see that Dina would be assigned here to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing is if we say it's done and we check it off here in the overview, first of all, we can see it was completed down here. We will see when it was completed. And if we go back to the task, we will also see it's updated here as completed. This is pretty much, a very brief overview section. We have some other types of nodes. So for example, we have a link list, because sometimes when you're reading literature, there's some useful things on the web or books that you want to share with colleagues, so you can easily find it again. And I have also another type that is called ideas. Some cool ideas that you want to pursue in the future to improve your project work or something of your own. I find it really useful to keep track of ideas there as well. The great thing about Obsidian is that it has so many plugins. You have seen some of these in action, but there's so many more. There are also AI and LLM plugins to help you write the notes, perhaps even some to automatically transcribe. You would have to check that for yourself. I was promising that we take a look at the graph. This is actually a dummy vault, so the graph will be a bit limited.
One question before. Can we link any object with any object, or is there some limitations?
No, you can link any object with any object. And before I show you the graph, I think there's something that might be of your interest, Dina. Because last time I remembered you had a challenge. You wanted to draw some custom charts for PowerPoint. It was a bit challenging. We ended up hand drawing them. And I think there are better options. So in fact, you could go to Excalidraw, create a new drawing. So what is Excalidraw? This is a plugin, but this is basically something for drawing. So you can draw boxes, circles, you can connect them by making an arrow, you can shade the color nicely and say this one is a bit of a blue thing.
What is the difference between this and, for example, PowerPoint or Paint?
So one difference is that you can actually take this code in the background and chat with that LLM to help you draw it. So it's very much more convenient when drawing.
How much of programming language you need to know there?
No, the LLM will do it pretty much for you.
Okay.
And other than that, I personally find it much, much faster to draw here. And unlike PowerPoint, where you have a locking on a per page basis, here,
locking, what?
So if you have PowerPoint open on SharePoint and two people are editing the same PowerPoint, you cannot actually collaborate on the same page on the objects and move them together. Like PowerPoint will lock them, so you cannot actually select and move them. But here in Excalidraw, you can in real time actually collaborate and draw this thing together with colleagues. And the interesting thing is that the Excalidraw instance that you're looking at here is not only isolated. So you can install a certain list of plugins that allow you to create a canvas that can be shared via a link with colleagues. And then you can store the Excalidraw painting on your laptop, but you can share the process of painting with your colleagues in real time. And I think this is super powerful. And once you're finished, you can always export an image and then add it to PowerPoint if you want to have it there.
It's already nice. I see that it's interactive, not like in PowerPoint that it doesn't move with the object. That's nice.
Yes. And I personally really like this hand-drawn style. So you can here select how curvy or edgy it is. And here is more that's what you know from PowerPoint, and this is more sketched. I personally really like this sketch style. Anyways, what I wanted to show you was a graph. So let's check out where we find the graph. It's actually here on the left side with the graph view. So let's open the graph view, and you can see already these are the nodes that are part of our graph here. It's just a pretty empty world, so there's not so much going on, not so much structure to discover. But you can shade and style the nodes as per your specific node types, or filter out by specific tags or keywords. So even if you're storing massive amounts of knowledge, it should be quite easy to discover that again. This is sort of a very short overview of what I wanted to give you, Dina. But what you can see here is storing pretty much a customized CRM system with some additional customer relationship management system.
Okay.
So you can, I mean, this is about storing these contacts. So colleagues or people that you're interacting with, the meeting nodes, and some additional node types, like the daily nodes, the ideas, and the links. Is there anything else you would like to know? Otherwise, I would, call it a day for now and say this is a short special. But I hope it's useful and maybe also something worthwhile for you when organizing tasks at your work.
One question, like when I have reached a state when I have a lot of information stored here, if I don't specifically note somewhere that this is what I want to see in the graph and this please don't include, then in this graph everything will be included what's stored.
Yes.
And at each specific point you can put whether you want to can you make many different graphs with one, for example, showing everything you have stored, in one you show specific areas of
you
work,
can basically filter this graph and search for specific patterns or tags in the graph. So when you take notes and then add, for example, tags, that means give a little bit of structure to your notes, and you can use this structure to filter the information later on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to know?
How to make it. This I can look into myself. Yeah, thanks. Maybe you want to share whether this is an open source program or...
Yes, I think this is a good question. So how can you make it? Well, you can use Obsidian in any way you want, but let me bring it back here on the screen. I have created a template, and this template is exactly what you have seen here on the screen. I hope it is going to be useful for you. It has all of these specific template types, plugins, and also shortcuts set up for you, so you can just get started right away. There are a couple of instructions on how to clone and basically get this template working for you. And to answer Dina's last question, so do you have to pay anything? So the template that I provide here is free of charge. You can just use it however you like. If you like it, maybe send me a star so I know that you like it. And the software itself, so Obsidian, you can use it for free for private computers. But if you want to use it for work after some evaluation period, the license would request you to pay for the software.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally think it's totally worth it. And especially with the vibrant community and these plugins around AI, drawing, and so much more, you can really achieve a lot. And all these nodes can be version controlled by one mean or another. Like if you're more technical, you might want to control them via Git, but you could put it also onto SharePoint. But I personally would recommend to either sync via Git or via the paid Obsidian sync service.
So version controlled means where you want to share it with other people, or what? You said version control?
If you want to work with nodes and with multiple people on this, let's say, notebook, like in how's the name of Microsoft OneNote, right? Where you can share a notebook with others, you would have to either use Git for sharing the notes or the paid Obsidian sync service. But that's possible. And there are even, I believe, some real-time collaboration tools and plugins available, but you would have to check them out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Not yet, but wait until I will start working with it. So.
And I wish you a lot of fun and success with storing your knowledge smarter so you can retrieve it quicker. And
I think I wanted to use it actually because I thought this is how you might come up with something new, because you suddenly see something you haven't connected yet in your head because it's so much in your head, and there with this graph you can see something and create new ideas. This is why I actually wanted to use it.
Yeah, and I totally get that point, and I love to use it myself. So that's it for today. See you next time, and until then, like and subscribe, join our podcast. We are available now on pretty much everywhere.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And yeah, also comment on what topics you would like to see next.
Bye.
Bye.